Hanna Murray on TRE in the afternoon.
Joining us on the line now is Ingrid Jansen from the Declutter Hub to talk about decluttering and sorting yourself out in the new year. How are you, Ingrid?
I'm fine, Hannah. Thank you for having me on the show, and Happy New Year to you and all of your listeners. It's great. I don't know what it is about a new year. It just gives this lovely, we've got the whole year to just, I don't know. I like it. It makes me buzz with excitement.
Oh, I know what you mean. I really do. It feels like a good kind of excuse or reason to make some positive changes in your life, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think you can really kind of over that Christmas and New Year period, it gives you time to kind of ponder about, okay, how did I do in the last year? What went well? What do I like to change? What do I want to improve upon? And, some people call them New Year's resolutions. Other people call them goals. Other people go, you know what? I did not too bad in 2024. I'm just going to stay on course and stay on track. But it gives that pause, that moment to kind of go, okay, what's my plan for this year? And you don't have to write it down until the minutiae and in bullet points, but just have a little think about it. And some people put, you know what, my home, I need to sort that out. I need to make it a priority. And I'm going to spend this year to work on that. And I love that.
Yes, it's right up your street. Definitely. Well, I'm going to sound like a real teacher's pet now, but my husband and I, both of us, spent a large part of the weekend decluttering and clearing stuff out and cleaning and organizing, and it felt so good. We actually really enjoyed the process.
Well, you've been in our challenge, Hannah. You've done the work. So you can now benefit from all the things you've done in the past. And I think once the clutter goes down a little bit in people's homes, it all starts to feel a lot more manageable. And then suddenly a whole weekend of just doing little things in and around your home doesn't feel so daunting, and you get energized by it and you think, oh, I feel so good. I think the problem is when the clutter is really, really high, and then it feels like a mountain to climb, and then the overwhelm can really set in. And I think it's really important to learn how to break things down in small, manageable chunks. And it's key. And I feel sometimes a bit like a broken record, Hannah, by kind of going, break it down. But I know from experience, and I've been a professional organizer now for a very, very long time, that a lot of people, they bite off too much that they can chew, that the bite of the elephant is too big. And then people kind of go, oh, I'm so overwhelmed. I'm stuck. There's more mess now than there was before. What do I do? And I think it's really important to go, okay, I'm just going to do this one thing. And when I've done that, then I'm going to do the next one. And of course, you can make yourself a little list and you can tick some things off along the way. But I think celebrating those wins is key. And I really want people to see decluttering as something positive that gives you energy, that makes space. You're not stuck in the past. You're in the present. You're in the here and now. And you're making space for all the things that are coming your way in the future. And I think I know you're there now, Hannah, after you've put in all of that work over the years, and you kind of go, this felt so good. I'm feeling organized for the year. I'm feeling set up and, fantastic.
Yeah. And it did feel like a good time of year to do it, going into the new year, getting organized. Mm-hmm. It kind of fitted in with that. I did, from things like the fridge, I've been wanting to do that for ages. I just cleared everything out of the fridge, a shelf or drawer at a time, and would clean the shelf or drawer, look at the dates of everything that's in there, get rid of anything that was kind of out of date and put it all back organized. And it looks so nice. It looks like a brand new fridge.
It makes me so happy, and I did the same. I mean, this weekend, I put away my Christmas tree. All the ornaments were put away, all the Christmas tree lights we're wound around a Christmas tree winder thing so they're not getting tangled. And it just feels so good because you're doing your future self a big favor. So when I go back in December to get all the stuff back out, it's like, oh yeah, the baubles are together and the decorations are together and the lights are together, and it's not all just in one big mess. And I think that's when you can really kind of feel the benefits of being more organized, because it saves you a lot of time. And, just, in your living room, clearing away the tree and then kind of giving everything a good hoover and pulling some stuff out from the sides. I don't know. It makes me happy.
Yeah, definitely. And it's also good I don't know if this is something that everybody does, but with paperwork, I know that's one of your big things, putting things away in terms of paperwork and filing and keeping all your car stuff together, or your house stuff together, or your medical things together, all that kind of stuff. Really, really useful. But I wonder if before people do that, they kind of have a pile of papers that needs to be filed. I'm not sure that I certainly don't file each bit of paper every time I come across it. I kind of have a pile and then every so often go, okay, now that all needs to be filed, as opposed to doing it every single time. Is that normal?
Mm-hmm. Yes, and I do it the same way, Hannah. You'll be pleased to know.
Oh, good.
And in January, I always take one Saturday or Sunday where I suddenly go, right, today's the day.
Yeah.
And then I kind of get the pile out and I divide it in my categories, because of course I have a system that works. And I think that's where, that's the difference, because my system works. I have a file for car paperwork, and I have a file for house paperwork, and I have a file for utilities. So I've got it all subdivided. So then I can take the pile, make different little sub stacks and go, right. And now for each category, I'm going to file it away in the right folder or container or basket or box or whatever you use in your home. I think the problem is, sometimes with people who struggle with paperwork, is that they have different filing systems that they've kind of started up over the years, didn't follow through with any of them, and then it gets into a muddle. So what's really important is that you commit to one system. Not one paperwork system is perfect. Mm-hmm. Every paperwork system has its plus sides and its downsides. I love a lever arch system, but some people are like, Ingrid, please, I do not want a hole punch, and I don't want to put, levers up and down, and they just don't like it at all. They like a filing cabinet. But it depends on the space you have. It depends on the furniture you have. It depends on the room you have, what works for you. But take a system and commit to it. And also have that shredder handy, because we keep so much paperwork that we never ever look at again. Of course, you need to keep the important stuff. Of course, you need to have your birth certificates and your passport and your driving license and paperwork from your house, and from, you need to know which bank you bank at. But we get a lot of things online now. Do we need that paper bank statement? Do we actually do something with it? Or do we just kind of look in our app and go, yeah, that makes sense. And you check it maybe on a daily or weekly basis, quickly kind of scan your finances through. Or are you somebody who's going to wait for the bank statement to come in and meticulously tick off each of the things to go, that's right? Or are you like, what? What are you talking about, Ingrid? I don't do that. Then why are you getting the paper statements if you're never going to look at it and just kind of fling it onto the heap of stuff that has to be sorted out? So think about what works for you. If you are an online person, think about, what can I do online? And do I then do something with it? Can I make folders in my emails to save some of the things? The delete button, same. You have to delete stuff that's not important as well. You don't want to keep everything. You need to, of course, know, where's my current electricity with? What's my customer number? And what's the phone number that I can ring if there's a problem? But you don't need to keep an electricity bill that's 12 years old, because it's not helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. And getting all your paperwork in order is such a good thing. I mean, everyone will have been in the situation where you need to find some paperwork for something and you have no idea where it is, and you can spend hours or days sometimes looking for it, and that's a nightmare, and it can be really stressful and time wasting and everything like that. So to get your paperwork in order, so if you're signing up for something and you need to produce 3 utility bills or whatever proof of rental contract or something like that, you know where it is. So you go straight to where it is, and it's no hassle or problem at all. That's the dream. That's how it should be.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what we also want for everybody, but the thing is, if your whole house is in order, and your paperwork is a problem, then you can go, right, this year is going to be the year I'm going to focus on paperwork. If both the paperwork and the home is in a bit of a muddle, I would suggest start with the home first, because you're going to find paperwork everywhere.
Yeah.
You can't, if your house is cluttered, you can't go, right, this is the year I'm going to do paperwork, because you're going to lose track of where you are, what you have, where it's all at, and then you keep coming across these piles of stuff everywhere. So then the better option is go and do your house in steps in the order that we suggest in the Declutter Hub, and then paperwork comes later in our Reset Your Home system, because it is fiddly, it is time consuming, and it's the funny thing is, Hanna, you can do your paperwork better, and this sounds maybe a bit crazy, but if you have learned how to declutter, categorize and organize with items in your house, you can use the same principles to set up your paperwork, and it will help you to go, okay, what's the big picture here? What are the categories that I have in my home? What are the subcategories? Because you've already learned with, okay, in a kitchen, I need to have a cupboard with mugs, and I need to have a cupboard with plastic containers. I need to have a cupboard with pots and pans. The same principles apply to paperwork, but because it's so fiddly and time consuming, you need to have your decluttering muscle truly well and truly build up, so you can have better progress in your paperwork. And that's why we do it later when you are decluttering.
Yeah. Absolutely. And one of the areas that we did over the weekend was our utility room, which has become a bit of a pantry. There's a washing machine and tumble dryer in there, but also our landlord fitted all these shelves. So it's fantastic for storage. So not only do we keep a lot of food in there, rice and pasta and things like that, but also kitchen appliances and things, so much storage we can use in there, which is really, really fantastic for kitchen things. And my husband is a great cook, and over the years I've bought him all kinds of weird and wonderful kitchen gadgets, and so many of them he hasn't used because he'd forgotten that he had them. So it was really great that we were doing it together, because he was able to see all these different things that he'd accumulated from over the years and hadn't used, and he was getting all excited about making ravioli and things like that. So that's really good.
Well, that sounds amazing. I mean, this homemade ravioli sounds like the best. And the good thing is, Hanna, I think you said something really key there. You did it together. And together you could think about it, discuss it, and make decisions upon the items. And what's really important as well, if in your case your utility room has to double up as a laundry room and a pantry and kind of storage unit, it's really important to use zones. So have, all of the kitchen appliances together in one group.
Yeah.
Have all of the food things together. It's called zoning. And that can really help you then if you have to retrieve an item later to go, okay, I'm not completely sure, but it's going to be in this zone. It's not going to be, it's somewhere in the utility room, because then already you are more in tune of where you need to look. And that's where really a place for everything in its place really, really, comes into full force. And that's what I do with everything. In my loft, for example, I've got my suitcases together, my Christmas decorations are together, then I've got a zone with decorations for other holidays. There's some memory boxes in another place. So I've zoned the things in my attic or in my loft as well, because then I can go to somebody else, go and get the blah, 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 and it's there because I know which area it is. And it just makes you want to use the items. And that's what we want. We want to use the stuff that's in our homes so we can enjoy it.
Yeah.
And then if at some point your husband makes ravioli and goes, well, this was delicious, but I'm never making ravioli again, then right, okay, we can declutter this item because it was one thing only. We enjoyed it, but oh my goodness, it was so much work and we kind of underestimated it. Or, wow, this is amazing. I'm going to put ravioli every month on the menu because I enjoyed it and the thing works. And, it's no longer an aspiration of something you want to do or he wants to do, but it's something that's actually happening and you're making use of the items, which is, of course, all we want. Is that you love and use the items that are in your home.
Yeah. The interesting thing about all of this is people who are doing this on a regular basis, like yourself, and it's just become part of your life, getting organized on a regular basis and having systems within your household. I know it's not obvious to you necessarily because you're teaching people and it's part of your job, but to other people who have been living like this for a long time, it'll just seem so obvious and so normal, because it's just how you run your home. Why would people do it any differently? But to so many other people who are desperate to get organized and don't have that organization in their home and are constantly losing things, constantly looking for things, this is a big deal.
It is. And we hear so often, well, why don't you just throw it away? Well, if it was that simple, not so many people would struggle with clutter. It is something that you can learn, but it doesn't happen overnight. You have to take your time for it. And what we see a lot is that, so we're starting our Reset Your Home Challenge today. And you've done the challenge a couple of years ago, Hanna. And I know from that moment on, everything changed for you.
Absolutely.
And I'm so excited that we're starting again today. And what we see in our pop-up Facebook group that we have for the challenge is like, oh my gosh, finally other people who also struggle with this. I'm not the only one because there are many people who are organized, but we're all good at something, right? I just happen to be very good at decluttering and organizing. And I'm lucky enough that I can share my knowledge with other people, which makes me very, very happy. But I feel very, very lucky and blessed that I can do this.
Yeah. And I know your podcast has been doing really, really well, hasn't it? Tell us about what people can expect if they listen to that.
Oh, thank you so much. Yes, I know. What started off as, we like to chat and let's do a podcast about decluttering has kind of grown beyond our dreams. And I think we're 2.5 million downloads in now and we're on episode 330 or so. I've lost track, but we still do a new episode every Friday. We talk about something about decluttering and organizing. Sometimes it's really about decluttering and organizing. Other times it's connected to it. We have guests. We do 10 Things podcast. Loads of different things. You were a guest as well a while ago, Hanna, and we just still love it. And it's just wonderful to see that so many people love our advice. We're very realistic. That's I think one of the main things that Leslie and I are. We are realistic. We keep it in perspective. We're not about everything just having to look beautiful. It has to be practical. It has to be realistic and work in your life, in your situation. And that's what we're trying to tell everybody.
Yeah. And something that you do really well, which is really important, is not make people feel silly or stupid or like they're doing something wrong or that kind of thing. You're normalizing it, I guess, if you like. The fact that a lot of people live with a lot of clutter is quite normal, and it's nothing for people to be ashamed about or embarrassed about. And you're giving them just handy, helpful advice on how they can change that if they want to.
Yeah. Oh, I really appreciate you saying that, Hanna, because I think it's so important to not have judgment on other people and to be kind and be supportive. And there's always loads of reasons why people have ended up with clutter. It's never just, I just didn't do my housework for 3 years. There's all kinds of reasons behind it. There's a lot of physical and mental health. Lots of people, have very, very full on jobs, lives, are carers, struggle with their energy, there's always a reason behind it. Bereavement is a big one as well. So kindness is everything. And we have to be supportive of each other. And, everybody's on their own journey towards a clutter-free home. And some people are like, I'm a snail, and I'm like, you might be a snail, but you're moving forward. You're going in the right direction. And some people are like, oh, I was a hare, and now I've completely burnt myself out. And I understand now, Ingrid and Leslie, why you talk about taking it slowly, breaking it down all the time, because we want a lovely home for everybody, and it's your home, and you decide what that looks like.
Yeah. And does it matter where people start? I know you said potentially if people have got their whole homes to tackle, to not start with paperwork and things like that. Yeah. But if people go, okay, I really want to do this, but where do I start? Is there a room or area of a room that you would recommend as a good place, or does it just depend on people's? Oh, okay. Yep.
Definitely. Start with ideally the kitchen or the bathroom. The kitchen is best. Why? Because it has already smaller cupboards. Like a bedroom, a wardrobe it's like, whoa, you open the door. So you're like, oh my goodness. Well, a kitchen has smaller cupboards. So it feels like, okay, I'm going to do this cupboard. And that kind of takes the whole, I don't know what to do, where to start. You just do one cupboard. And if you do one cupboard, you might go, actually, that went really well. I'm going to do one more cupboard, and I might do one more. And then, okay, enough now. I'm going to continue with another cupboard tomorrow. So you build up that positivity that I did this. This is fantastic. I'm proud of myself, instead of, wow, I've went to my room of doom. I opened the door, looked around, got in a whole panic, and got to quickly close the door. That's what we don't want. We want people to think, okay, I'm going to start small, be successful, one thing at a time, 2 or 3 items, really, really slowly build on that success. Because if you're successful, you want to keep doing it. And if you want to keep doing it, you're going to have more and more success. And it's going to get easier and easier every day.
Yeah. And decluttering mugs is a good thing to do as well. So many people can end up with ridiculous mug collections from over the years that you've kept for so many different reasons. Some of it's sentimental, some of it just because you've had them a long time, and it's really good to be realistic as to how many mugs you need in your household, what everyone's favorite mugs are, and get rid of all the ones that you don't need that sit at the back of the cupboard that you don't use from one year to the next.
Yeah, I think it's all about space, isn't it? Everybody's got a certain amount of space in their home. And if you're thinking to yourself, well, mugs, yeah, but indeed, perfect category to start with. All your glasses, it doesn't really matter as long as you get started. But the nice thing is, if you're realizing that you've got a lot of stuff out on your kitchen sides or your kitchen counters, and that's where it kind of it's cluttered, then you're going to have to tackle those cupboards, because if you can't put it away, it will be out.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, it's always inspiring chatting with you, Ingrid. Thank you so much. I'm sure you're going to continue to help so many people start the new year with a bang.
Well, we've got, like I said, we've got our challenge this evening. We're starting. If your listeners still want to join up, you're more than welcome to. You can go to declutterhub.com/RYH for Reset Your Home. And we're starting this evening at 8 p.m. UK time with our first live session. It's going to be about kitchens. And we're definitely going to be talking about mugs for sure.
Oh, brilliant. Well, as you say, I did it myself, this particular challenge, the Reset Your Home challenge in 2020. I think it was, and it's changed my life for the better.
Oh, well, I love that. And I appreciate you inviting me to come on the show and share my little nuggets of information to your listeners. And I appreciate that so much. So thank you, Hanna.
Oh, thank you, Ingrid. Lovely to have you with us. And if listeners want to find out more information about you and Leslie and all the work that you do, declutterhub.com is the place to go.
Definitely.
And is that the name of your podcast as well?
The Declutter Hub podcast. Yes.
Perfect. Brilliant. Ingrid, thank you so much for joining us. Happy New Year and have a great one. We'll catch up soon.
Thanks, Hanna.
Bye-bye.